Hi, welcome to week 4 of the What We Carry interviews. I am sitting here with Shem.
Hey,
I work with Shem on different film sets, including Perpetrator, directed by Jennifer Reeder.
yeah, Jennifer.
Jennifer. And so we're going to talk a little bit. He is also a transplant to Chicago from Decatur, Georgia, and we're going to talk about his experience. So yeah, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Shem. I go by Shem Azra'El. I use my first and middle name. I really like those two names. My parents did they thing. And you know, it's like your parents do that. They did their thing with my name. I grew to really like my name. So yeah, I go by Shem Azra'El, professionally and in my artworks, and I feel like that name kind of spent this whole world of media for me all the way from the start. I liked my name, so I got heavily invested into the name. And then I think from me being invested in my name, it kind of bore the identity and relationship of reading for me. Because in a weird way, I was invested in something and interested in something where I didn't have like the internet. I mean, like this was like just post AOL. I'm like 6. I'm like, I really like my name, but in order to know it, I had to like read the book. Like I got to read pages out of the Bible and pages out of this. And
You took the time to know yourself.
I was trying to like know it because it was something that I used to get picked on for my name when I was younger. So I was like, I just didn't even like my name at all. I was like letting other people dictate the way that I felt about something that I had ownership over. And I was, from this point, speaking about it now, I can, explain it in that way. But as a child, I was really just going through a rebellious tirade of having this name. So I learned so much about the name that I'm like, nobody can tell me what my name is. People will just stop me. You know what that means? You know what those names mean? It's like, so I got to a point where I'm like, I know the name Shem means the name.
Okay.
It literally just means the name. It's almost like a surname, almost like El in Spanish. So if you go overseas or you're talking to somebody who like speaks Farsi or speaks Arabic, my name literally just translates as the name to them. So it's almost laughable. Sometimes I have an interaction with a person. They'd be like, "What's your name?" And I'm like, "My name's Shem Azra'El," and they'd be like, "Oh." And it's like because they'll be a little taken because it's like it's a thing over there. And when I got to a point where I was like, yeah, I really know my name, I started seeing it everywhere because you know how you like start liking something or like you see a car you like, and then all of a sudden you just start seeing it everywhere. Everybody's driving that car, or you buy a car and then everybody has that car now. You're like, what is this? So I'm seeing my name pop up in these different works and in these different art forms, and I really started getting invested and attached to everything that had my name. And I was like reading comics and heavily at that period of time, religion and comics and all of that stuff. It kind of all plays on the same texture, heroes and villains and whatnot. And I started to kind of like see the Shem Azra'El portion of my name. Full name is Shem Azra'El Lavelle Watson. I'm like seeing the Shem Azra'El portion, like almost like an alter ego, but from a child perspective, like this part of my name is like this is really me. This is me in my truest self or whatever. And I was just kind of like in the throes of building that name in my early 20s. And I was trying to like make music and be a cool kid and do all of that different stuff in between my homies and whatnot. And I was using a different name. I was going by an artist name or whatever. And I came to a point where I was just like even in, like I was making my little music or whatever. And I was like, I don't really I was like, I really just don't care for this anymore. I really just want to just like be Shem Azrael. I don't want to have like an artist name. I don't want to have a this and a third. I just want to like really just be this person. So I'm in the middle of working my job at the time. I was working at Whole Foods. I was in the customer service department in Inglewood. Pandemic was freshly starting,
Mm.
and because like no one knew the pandemic was happening yet. It was like happening, but it
But
was
it wasn't,
happening.
yeah, it didn't hit you just
Yeah.
yet.
So it was like I was in the middle of having a conversation with this guy, and he's like real smooth guy, like had a newspaper cap on, real
Okay.
cool dude. He would come in there. I would see him with his family every now and again, and we chopping it up. And he was like, I see your name tag. He was like, is that your actual name? I was like, yeah, my name's Shem. He was like, what does that mean? We two black guys. So I'm gonna be honest. Over the years, I think that there's been like this super crazy onslaught of the relationship between black men, doofully because of the concepts and the understandings of what is like the LGBTQ community, all of that different stuff. So everything is so like questionable and touch and go, and people are all weird with each other. And the reality to it is, I remember being a kid, and other kids would hear my name and just accept it.
Mm.
But then now I'm like in my 20s and my latter years, and I can see where it's like people's minds are so shifted and adjusted to being triggered by things. So he did this crazy lean back on me, and I was like, "This is my real name." He was like, "Oh, okay." He was like, "I didn't know if that was like one of those, no." And I was like, "No, no, no," because he like probably like a 40-year-old black man. We don't Black men don't evolve fast with society because we're not heavily a part of society. So the very few of us of the population that are, that just like we understand what's going on, we're for, we don't always link up with the older and the far off. But I was like, no, no. I was like, if anything, I was like, it's more religious than anything. He's like, yeah. He's like, because it sounds familiar. And I was like, no, it's in the Bible. He's like, I was like, it's Shem Azra'El. He was like, that's a dope name, man. You should act or something. You should act, man. He's like, that's an actor's name. And I was like, I'm like, you funny. I'm ringing this stuff up. I'm like, you funny, my boy. He was like, nah, nah, my little cousin an actor.
What?
And I'm like, yeah. He was like, you ever seen the show, The Shot? Now, mind you, they in like their second or third season. I'm like, yeah, I seen that show. So he tells me, he's like, my little cousin is Bart. He plays Reg on The Shot. I'm like, that's funny. Ooh. He's like, yeah, we stay around. We our people from around here. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. A couple weeks later, I actually see this guy in the same. That was for the curse, in the same store. Um, and I ended up chopping it up with them guys. I'm like, dang, man, ooh, I see you guys before. Da, 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 da. I see you. Ooh, I think I met your uncle or something. He's like, what's his name? I was like, oh, he's like, dang, you did meet my uncle. Ooh. He's like, man, you should be on the show. So one guy told me, is like, your name's cool. You should be an actor. The actual guy on the show said, you should be on the show. Fill out this boo woo. I'm gonna tell him to get your name off the thing.
What?
I do the paperwork. The next day, they hit me up. Like,
Yeah.
one of these days, I'm on the shot. So, boom, I do this thing on the shot, shoot this scene. Don't even think about it because I ain't even in the film world like that. I'm just like, yeah, man, I did a background acting thing. This is me talking to my homies. This is like December 2019. I want to say maybe like 4 months past the season gets aired. I'm at work at Whole Foods. The pandemic is going up. So I'm thinking people are calling me because it's like a crazy emergency. They call me because they tell me they seeing me on TV. So I'm getting phone calls from people. I'm like, what? I'm looking at myself on Instagram. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like, I was just on TV. Like, my brain is kind of like, I was like, that was a crazy experience. Just like doing something for the sake of doing it, for the sake of just having the experience. And it panned out like that. I'm gonna go back. So I'm like, I'm gonna do more of the thing. I go and look at the email. They've been emailing me back and forth, like for my availability, but I'm at work, so I'm like not even thinking about what's. I'm like, yeah, I need to, do I go back or whatever? I go back. I'm doing background in that show for like a season. I meet one of my homies that I'm still making works with right now, Terrence Kennedy. We chop it up on set, and he's like, man, really sharp dude. You should work in commercials.
Okay.
That conversation got me my first job maybe a summer or so later, working on the Jimmy Dean's commercial. Rest was history. I started PAing on commercials, driving trucks and pass vans and driving all the way out to this thing, coming back and this, that, and the third, and just doing the trench work and seeing the texture and the vibration and the body and the machine that is the film industry, specifically in the Midwest. And I just learned a lot. It was like getting paid to go through the most intensive film school that you could ever go through. Where it's
Okay.
just, you meet constant different directors and producers and coordinators, and you know how some of these jobs can get where you meet people and you're like, um, I don't understand how this person even got here. And then you find out how they got there, and you be like, wow, like this is crazy. Like this is the type of lifestyle that people live before they come in the industry, and these are the type of lifestyles that they live while they're in the industry. And you realize that the film industry is not really a thing. It's like this weird, not weird, like my favorite word. It's like the film industry to me, in my mind, is a body of water, and everybody who's in it is a drop of water.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
That I see it. I see what you mean.
And there's like, there's like different levels to water. You got the surface that everybody sees and interacts with. Then you got the different layers and as deep as it goes, where some people just would never swim, and that's like that, like the down at the bottom where like the little fish is swimming around with the that's the PAs and whatnot. Because we in the deepest of the water, where it's like looking at the sun peeking through and kind of wanting to have that experience, seeing the dolphins jumping in and out, and we climb. And we climb and we get to like this point in the water where we like, okay, I'm close to the surface. I'm seeing how the surface works, and it's that body of water on every production. Every member is a droplet. You know, some believe they're more important than others. And some don't know they're as important as others, and the ins and outs and the in between. And I don't. I think that I've had enough of my own life experience to be able to come in the industry with my own fortification and my own sense to defend myself or like protect myself if I feel like I'm in an environment where I'm being taken advantage of or overused or misused. And seeing how even that can work against you sometimes, being a person who knows those things, knows, for the lack of better words, right from wrong and things like that, and still having, my own personal life where I'm making my own mistakes and create my own trouble and my own consequences, you know what I mean? So it's
You
like,
know,
it's a
there's a song that I like to play that I listen to, and I'm like, you know what? And it's called Raise Hell by Dorothy. And it's like sometimes you just gotta raise a little hell. Like it's it's just it's a
it's fire started by Prodigy for me. I tell you, it's just like as soon as I go in the car, crank that, I don't know, I go a crazy jump between like Prodigy and Firestarter and Marvin Gaye. What's going on? That's where my mind is most days. It's if I'm trying to start a fire, what's going on?
yes.
That's the range of emotions working in the film industry is literally just like that. Every now and again, it hit, and it's more like everybody loves the sunshine,
You know, no.
and
I and I
that's why you keep coming back.
and that's the thing. And but the thing is like you remember why you do it. You know, you remember why you started it in the first place, why you went after it in the
Yeah,
first place, you know? You remember because you take the time away to like, step away back and like look at the bigger picture. Or at least that's how it
yeah,
works for me.
yeah.
So I'm like, and like sometimes I like it's necessary because then it gets me like, "Okay, all right, let's go. Let's get back up and let's see. Because then it's like I think you like your heart's in the right place for it. You know what I mean? That's what that's what helps. That's what helps. I remember why I fell in love with TV and film too. Like, it something about it like helped bring me out of myself.
Around what age do you think? Because I don't know why I feel like I peaked around 11 or 12. I don't know about other people, but around 11 or 12, I don't know. I just, when I would watch things on TV, like television shows and films, I feel like I truly just understood them. And maybe I was thinking I was too advanced, but I was understanding the humor. I was understanding the rhetoric. I would get the undertones.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what really kind of. So I always wonder for other, like,
I think it's honestly because I started like I was a TV kid for sure. Um, but like it was kids shows. And so they're always trying to teach a lesson,
yeah,
obviously. Like there's always a lesson involved.
yeah,
But I think I started being able to like look for that pattern.
I still
of
like
the lesson
yeah,
in
when
the
it's coming
program.
with it.
Exactly. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I started looking for that in my television programming.
And it probably make you real patient with people in real life because it's like it was a joint called Lazy Town and it was weird. It was a weird show to me. And still to this day it makes me laugh. I used to sit with my sisters and watch it. This girl with like a pink wig and a dude with like a blue outfit and they'd be dancing and stuff like that. It was a bad guy. Every episode he was trying to just do something and they would foil his plan with happiness and dancing. And it's just like
I do remember that.
I'm like what? You know, like you would, I would be watching this show almost infuriated by it as a child too, and I'm like, the reality is not like this. And maybe I was just a young pessimist, but now I'm watching stuff happen in real life, and I'm like, why can't we just like love each other and just dance this out?
Start becoming like West Side Story. Da-da-da-da. Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, like, I grew up watching that, and I was like, absolutely. And sometimes I get it, it's not like that, but I think that's what it is. I think that I held on to that, like, hopefully, like, at least for me, finding the lesson in things. You know what I mean? And that's what helped me, like, be able to keep going. And that's why, like, when I look at film, that's the way of the world, isn't it? Like, you can either look at it at one way or you can look at it at another way. And so sometimes it just becomes about perspective. And so I've, from, those television programming, it taught me, like, take it as a lesson, you know, and, and that's what I've been doing since then. And I'm like, all right, this is what I've learned. Now I can move forward with, a different perspective. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, I definitely like that idea. Most of the jobs that I feel like I work that I don't like word lessons, valuable ones.
And, and that's what it is. It becomes very valuable. Like it becomes very valuable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I ain't gonna lie, I just started directing. My first directorial debut was September 14th. It was crazy because I think it was either School Days or Do the Right Thing. Spike Lee script. He had started on the same day. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But it's like a post, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I didn't do that for that reason, but it came out late. Um, when I directed that body of work, it was like a very gnarly experience, and I felt like it was a really intense and kind of draining experience. And then I doubled back, and I was, there's three parts to this thing. And on the second part, which they're still working on it in post, which we were discussing some of it before I came here, I just realized how much I don't want to do these things without the proper like system to do these things. I hate being the person where it's like I don't mind things going wrong. That's part of the business. But I feel like I'm putting fires out more than I'm actually making films or making art. I'm like, am I a fireman or am I a filmmaker? You know what I mean? And it becomes very confusing. You know what I mean? So I'm like tired. And it's like my own personal life. I just was like, yeah, like because I was watching it like become like a shit show. And it's like I'm not specifically an editor. I'm not specifically like as my job as a career an editor, but I can edit. I can edit videos, whatever, blah blah blah. But I just like find myself in a space where I'm like, I can't really have the time to sit down and focus on the artworks that I want to make, fruit. And that's a frustrating feeling, wanting to just be able to sit down, not do anything, but just focus on one thing. And that becomes a weight of the game. You got to go to work. Like I drive for Amazon, and I think of a lot of my scripts while I'm doing that. You know what I mean? Like I'm in a van. I'm looking at houses of different communities and stuff in different neighborhoods, and I'm coming up with different ideas. And I came up with a whole short film just from driving, literally, like in a neighborhood, just seeing like the differences between the neighborhoods.
Mm,
And I realized I'm like in a weird way, that's where we find our time as artists in
mm,
making the check, paying the bills. We find that we have to like find the time and the nuances of life and pull the subject matter from there. Or we will literally like fall to the vacuum of creating other people's artwork forever.
Okay. Okay.
So it's a weird catch 22. It's like you could be booked on every single project you want, but never actually have the time to just like sit down and think about creating your own work and like do what you're helping other people achieve. You know what I mean? And that has been my biggest lesson that I've grasped from this entire journey is that I don't need to make money in film. I just need to be able to make film. And being confused between the two of those, I've wasted a lot. Nope, I didn't waste any time. I've used a lot of time in areas where I can probably have used them in better places.
Well, then I mean that is a good lesson to learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Kind of like just kind of figure out like what works better, like, what clicks, better. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you, Shem. Thank you for sitting with me and speaking with me today.
Yeah, for sure.
This was fun. You're always a fun conversation.
Yeah.
So
Killing me. Like, how do I say these things? Still be nice. Okay, yeah.
thank you, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace. Cheers. Toodles.